And then you get in your truck, van, whatever, you open your BrandREVU app up on your phone or your tablet, and you drag your photo over and tag it, and then just did a, just did a 50-gallon water heater replacement in Red Bank, TN. And then you tag your Red Bank page, you tag your water heater replacement page, and then you put in the clients and you hit the button, and then they get that text Madison was just talking about. But you also get the geo coordinates tagged on a little red pin drop, which is like digitally raising your hand and saying, Google, please recognize that I was here. And then it puts that little red pin drop on the city page, on the service page with the photo, with the caption. And then you've got this website building that has far more relevant content, better content than anyone else around.
Welcome, plumbers, to another episode of the Plumbing Webmasters podcast. I'm Madison, and here we have Nolan. And we're going to be talking about an interesting subject today, specialization, and what it can mean for both your ranking and potential prospects in the future. We'll look at some ways that specialization can help you rank up faster and can even help you generate revenue in the long term. Now, Nolan, when it comes to specialization, what sort of plumbing specialties are there out there?
So, well, there's more than what I'm going to mention probably, but and really this is, I don't know what we're going to title this, Madison, but this is really, my version if I was going to start up as a new plumber like today. And I might even be an existing plumber that isn't totally blown away by my current business and decide to change up things. So, so someone that's not happy with the existing, that they don't already have something going and they want to do something different, or they're brand new starting out. So, and mainly this is brand new starting out. If this is brand new starting out, this is what I would do. So I talk to plumbers, Madison, all the time, and hear all kinds of things. And then of course we've marketed for them for almost a decade now. So if I was going to start up a plumbing business, I would start out with a specialty. And one of those specialties, or a few of them, might be water heaters, tankless, regular water heater work, trenchless, trenchless repairs, and clogs. So clogs, and clogs is probably my least favorite one for me, unless I was in a really large metropolitan area.
Where you had high volume.
Yeah, because they pay less. I mean, up in the north, some cities, I think New Jersey requires a license just for that. So we're really not talking about, most states, just plumbers do all this stuff. Well, you know what? I left out a big one, slab leaks.
Oh yeah, that's a huge category.
I'm going to say leaks and slab leaks, because leaks can get into leak detection, slab leaks, and other sorts of things. And it's a different set of tools. So I've done this for a long time, and a lot of this stuff is literally, somebody's got to have trenchless equipment, somebody's got to have leak detection, camera scopes, and stuff like that. So these are all different specialties that someone had. In fact, many guys won't have, cameras or specialty leak detection equipment, and they'll sub that stuff out, or they don't do slab leaks, or they won't do trenchless. So some of these are a specialty within it. The reason I'm talking about it, though, is from a marketing perspective. If you had to look at money on these, the trenchless will pay the most. Somebody might make $5,000 or $10,000 on one job if they're in California. And after that, well, and slab leaks too. Depends on what all needs to happen on the slab leak. Same thing. They might make thousands off of one job. Probably a little bit of a dirtier job. Some guys don't like to do it because it can be a main.
It's hard work. It's really hard work.
It's hard work. It causes disruption to the client that they're dealing with, to their customer. Clogs are easy, get in and out, but they don't pay much. So if you can do clog work and get in and out and hydrojet and have all your router equipment, the larger ones and smaller ones, you can get in and out, but you'd have to do more of them. My favorite is water heater. And the reason my favorite is water heater is because it pays well. It has a high perceived value from the client. So if your hot water goes out, man, you've got a problem. You know, if the front yard leaks, you know, it's leaking, you need to get it fixed, you're worried about your water bill. But there seems to be a higher perceived value with water heaters. I like water heaters too, because, and a lot of plumbers like them because it's, you know, if they've got a water heater unit in the closet or out in the garage or in the attic, they can take that thing and pull it out and repipe it and put it up. And it's kind of clean. You know, if they get good at doing these, they can just be in and out, and they can make pretty good money per water heater. And a couple of water heater jobs in a day is just a fantastic lifestyle for a plumber. If they did 10 of those in a week, it's just fantastic. You know, 5 a week in a smaller market, depending on what the cost of living is, it's just a great business model.
You're right.
So we had and I don't know if you have other questions, but I'm going to keep talking about the specializations for a minute. So all of them are great. Somebody might just absolutely love to do trenchless or slab leaks over like water heaters, because they can go out, instead of making, you know, $500 or $800 or $1,000 on a water heater, they can go out and make $5,000 or $10,000 on a slab leak or a trenchless job. So, and then it clogs, of course, more work, but easier. I would argue too, Madison, that as the job gets more difficult, it becomes harder for the business owner to manage. And all of these is easier from a management standpoint. So I'll switch off to that category. You're probably going to ask me that, but these categories, when somebody specializes, does several things for the business owner. And if I was a plumber, and let's say that I had, I'm going to say 3 trucks on the road, there's 3 trucks. As opposed to, let's say that I did water heaters only and I did 3 trucks. That is a very nice business model, because all those 3 plumbers are doing is working on water heaters. And if you think about it, if somebody was, and Madison, just to be clear, you're aware too that most of our plumbers do everything, right? They do almost all of it. Right?
They have a very broad portfolio of services. Yeah.
They do. So, but that causes issues. So you'll notice a lot of the guys, Madison, don't have trenchless, and some of them won't have slab leaks, but they almost all have clogs and water heaters, correct?
Yeah, because those are high dollar items.
Yeah. Well, clogs lead to all kinds of other stuff, and you get clients out of it, and you're in and out. You gotta make a little money, you're done, you know? So clogs are fine. But they all do water heaters and clogs. It's common stuff to get done. Highly used services, right? And then leak detection, slab leaks, less common, and trenchless. And there's a couple of reasons for that. It's more complicated. You have to have equipment, and it can cause more trouble. So if I have 5 guys out in the field, all in trucks, all doing, you know, 100 different things that can go wrong: sump pumps and grinder pumps and lift stations and I don't know, I can't think of all of them, but just all kinds of things, tankless and water heaters and toilets and fixtures and camera line scoping and all this stuff, front yard line leaks and relining and all this. And if something happens, Madison, and I'm the business owner and I go out, my phone's going to blow up all day long. Hey boss, I'm out here. I can't figure it out. I don't know where the leak is. I don't know. I've got this weird problem out here. Can you come out and take a look at it? Oh, it's more than we thought it was going to be, boss. I mean, it's going to be $3,000 more than I thought it was going to be.
Plus, there's all the permit work. The permit work alone is serious.
Yeah, depending on where you are, you could have that problem as well. So now the owner's going out and he's having to manage all this stuff. So the owner's my age, 47, he's 37, he's 65, you know? And so I'm bringing that up just from I've been in business, I think 30 years now, in this business 10 years. And I guess from my perspective, it's a nicer thing to specialize, to have a nicer run business, you know? And that is just a side benefit of the marketing aspect that I'm going to talk about, because we haven't even gotten to that yet. So now you've got a guy that has 3 trucks out instead of 5. I'm going to argue, Madison, that if he had 3 trucks out with efficiency, that he's going to make more money with 5 trucks out with any sort of problem going on than he can.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to a guy about this the other day, Madison, that hadn't started yet. And we started several people in specialties that have used Notice come through lately, right? And some of them have done extremely well. But the guy was like, Nolan, but I also do clogs. And what about, this repair and that repair? And I'm like, hey, man, there's no half step in here. Either go for it or don't, you're a specialist or you're a generalist on it. And those words, by the way, are a good point to segue into marketing, right? A specialist and a generalist. And Madison, you've been here a while now. You notice that we don't have general contractors as a client. So have you noticed that there's really no general contractors?
It's very rare. Most of them are really, they may have contracting in their name sometimes, but they're mostly just roofers.
Yeah, so those guys have contracting in their name, by the way, a roofer, because they get paid better from the insurance company if they're called a contractor. But technically they're a roofer. It's a technicality that is in there.
It's not as common with plumbers these days, but sometimes.
Yeah, but a plumber does so we have some really large plumbing websites that do great, by the way. So if somebody wants to be a journalist in plumbing, that is what 95% of our plumbers are. This is just a specialty video to go into this. But when a plumber we have some plumbing guys that have 60 pages of content on different services, plus their city pages. They might have an 80, 100-page website, right?
Mm-hmm.
So everything from, hot water heaters to reverse osmosis water filtration to pump grinders and grinder pumps and stuff like that. So
I remember writing all those pages.
hose bibs,
Yeah.
Everything. So they have tons of stuff, tons and tons of pages, but and they do great. They do fine. But I don't do a general contractor because you'll never see a general contractor show up because he's not specialized. He's a journalist. You won't see a general contractor show up for plumbing. Mm-hmm. You won't see him show up for roofing. You won't even see him show up for siding or windows or bathroom remodeling. He might show up for backyard kitchens or something weird, or hand trowel, walls, or stuff like that. So he won't show up for that. A plumber in the same category has what's called topical authority, and he does okay. Now, topical authority, though, could be kind of more narrowed in, right? You could get more narrow on it. And if Google's looking at somebody and they say, hey, this guy in, let me pick an area. Let's just use Dallas-Fort Worth where we're located. So this guy in let's say in Fort Worth does hot water heater repair. That's very, very relevant. It's very topically relevant. It's very much, what the category is that the searcher was looking for. Mm-hmm. If somebody goes to the page, go ahead, Madison. What?
I was just going to say, you're breaking into multiple layers of specialization there. Not only are you specializing on the industry elements, but you're also specializing in a localized SEO in that particular community.
Right. So, yeah. So, and right now, Google seems to like it. If somebody's looking for water heater repair, and the guy is Fort Worth water heater repair, guys or whatever, Longhorn water heater, I don't know, but it's Fort Worth water heater, I don't know, Cowboys. How about that? And that is a very relevant thing. That person does water heater repair in Fort Worth and has a distinctive brand, right? And so same thing if it was trenchless, same thing if it was clogged, same thing if it was a leak. And it's not like this isn't already done, Madison. I see people doing this around the country, but there's almost no competition for it. So if somebody was looking to be a plumber in Fort Worth, Madison, there gotta be hundreds of them, right? Hundreds of plumbers.
We may have about a dozen at least in the Fort Worth area.
In Dallas, Fort Worth. Yeah, but there's gotta be thousands all in Dallas Fort Worth, or literally probably at least 1,000,
Oh yeah.
so if somebody's going in and they're going into, let's say, trenchless or slab leak, let's do slab leak. I think we have a slab leak specific client in Dallas or Fort Worth, don't we? I'm pretty sure we do.
I want to say yes, but it's been a while since I've seen them. So.
It's been a while since he's been a client for a while. But anyway, so if somebody's looking that up and they're looking up Fort Worth slab leak repair, and then all the other keywords around that, you could probably go into leak detection stuff. And that is a very topically relevant thing. And I've seen people showing up and ranking faster because that category is so specific. We talked about before we started about maybe bounce rate or conversion. And so if you're a consumer and you have something pretty critically wrong with your house, like a slab leak, like water's literally leaking from the floor, you're pretty scared, right?
Yeah, there's the fire under you.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad problem. You know it's going to be expensive. You want somebody good. You're hoping to get a good deal. You're very likely to call somebody that you think specializes in it, right?
Right.
I would think, and you're very likely to convert better off that website and stay on that website longer than if they were a generalist on it, right? So you're gonna look at a little bit more information. Madison, I hear people. Madison started out doing writing, still does some writing, and people scoff writing all the time. Have you heard all these things that people say, oh, they never read it and all that? Well, in case you don't know, writing is the basis, content is the basis for keyword clicks on a website. It's the basis for a lot of the map optimization as well. And people absolutely do. Yeah, they absolutely do read content, don't they? And you can go look at bounce rates and the amount of times on a site. Yeah, they might be on a site an average of 98 seconds or something, or on a page 20 seconds, but you will have people that devour information, stay for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes. And if the site's written well and is topically relevant, you'll have people doing that more. Now, Google will read those signals and then actually up your ranking because people stayed on the site longer. And it might not be much, but you don't need much in order to get a signal to Google that people like your site better. Right?
No, and I've actually seen some specialized like guides and like on hot topic problems that consumers experience, that pages average up to like 5, 10, I've even seen 12-minute time on page, just because people are taking the time and going through the guides. So they can spend a lot of time there.
So you can imagine if your water heater was broken, or if your floor was leaking water and you're looking for a slab leak or a water heater, you're going to spend some time on it. So somebody could argue that a $1,500 water heater, $2,000, or whatever it is, isn't enough, but man, it's a lot of money for a lot of people, right? And by the way, I'll disclaimer my hat. It's in the middle of coronavirus and COVID-19, and I haven't had a haircut in like forever. So, you know, I am going to go get a haircut eventually, Madison. But by the way, that coronavirus, that was Cardi B's riff on coronavirus that went viral and stuck in my head. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money, especially right now in the economy. Now, luckily, plumbers have been really busy. And Madison, I said this the other day, they've been busier. Plumbers have been maybe one of the busiest professions out of this whole thing. And we might as well bring up the toilet paper issue. And I don't know, Madison's here and we're talking, guys, but our editor Olivia is listening. And I talk to the plumbers all the time. In fact, and Google recommends these weird articles to me, you know, for plumbing related stuff. And are y'all aware that there's been tons of clogged toilets around the nation? Not because people are using their toilets more at home, but because they, like for us, for example, I have a redone home from 1973. I live in a ranch style single story home that has 3-inch cast iron pipes. And you guys may or may not be aware of this, but they get corroded. And if you flush stuff down the toilet that doesn't, it's kind of hardy, like a really thick toilet tissue, it'll hang on a little edge of a corroded piece of pipe and then get another one caught and then eventually get clogged up. And so
I'm just imagining all the kids who are staying at home during the day and flushing down their toys down the toilet.
Yeah, forget about toilet paper issues. There are people just using the toilets like twice as much as they used to. Imagine all the people, this is segued off onto COVID-19 stuff, but imagine all the people cooking for the first time. I know you and Olivia and everyone here has to have cooked more than they have in a long time. And I'm talking about scratch cooking. You had to have, right? Maybe you didn't. Did you cook, Madison, at all? Have you put stuff down the garbage disposal that doesn't belong there?
I made some $1 million bacon. It was either last night or the night before.
There you go.
And I was careful to pour out the extra grease in my trash can, not into
But you still wash a pan out, right?
A little bit, yeah.
That grease went down there into your P-trap.
Let's go.
Just a little bit, but you're doing that like 100 times more than you used to at home. And you have to be. Like my wife did a sourdough starter. We're baking bread. I know Jason's wife is the guy that works at the company is making pasta, you know. So all this stuff going down the drain. Without the toilet paper issue, you have clogs and all kinds of problems. I kid you not, any plumber that is organically optimized has been doing fantastically. The only people I've heard not doing well that we're dealing with building trades or referral, but people are utilizing their pipes more than they ever have, and they're taxing that system out and they're calling for services. The toilet paper is like people using Charmin that need to be using Angel Soft because it's not septic safe, and they're getting clogs all over the country. So anyway, that is actually happening right now. And like I told you yesterday, I'm very thankful to be working with Essential Services. Anyway, so the guys are busy, but that's why I'm wearing the hat, the COVID-19 stuff. And we're on Zoom meetings because of that too. But I kind of like it. I don't know. I haven't watched one of these videos, podcasts all the way through, but I need to see what it's like. But I think it's okay overall.
Pretty fun.
Yeah. I said this the other day, but I'm enjoying spending some time with the family, being home, working. I'm working more though. I literally am working more because I'm having to do different tracking mechanisms than I used to have to do. And I still haven't gotten into everything. I'm paying bills. I've got 4 milk crates full of files next to me in this room because I had to bring all the stuff home, and stuff that I used to hand off to people, I'm doing myself at this point. So let me make some other points about this. This isn't just kind of a half-hearted suggestion. This is like really good stuff. This is exactly what I would do. Obviously, we can do this work for you extremely well. That would go in deep dive content on each issue, which is what we do for clients, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. So I'd deep dive the content. I'd go into types of water heaters, water heater repair, water heater replacement, water heater maintenance. I'd go in and I'd do tankless water heaters and heat pump water heaters and water heater, I don't know. There's like 5, 6, there's at least 5 or 6 different pages of content, if not more, depending on what all you do with water heaters. So I would make pages of content about all of that. And then I would make pages of content about local cities. We've got a guy that did this in Chattanooga, Tennessee, dominates the entire area. One of my favorite jobs I've done in a long time. Put him in October of 2019. By December, he's in the Pack 3. Madison, did you know that if you're in the Pack 3, you probably know that if you're number 1 organically for page content, that gets about 38% of clicks. And number 2 gets about 16. Number 3 gets about 8 or 10.
And I know where this is going.
The Map Pack 3, they all get the same clicks. It doesn't matter if you're Map Pack 1, 2, or 3. You just need to be in the Map Pack 3, right? Is that what did you know that?
Yeah, they're basically the difference in volume between the 3 of them is negligible at best. They're almost equal.
Yeah, it is. I don't know why, but it doesn't matter. He was in Map Pack 3. The point is, it doesn't matter where he was in Map Pack 3, does it? He was in Map Pack 3 for every single keyword that he had by December with a brand new website launch. And then by January, he was in the top 3 organically, and really is number 1 at this point for almost everything. So
now, was he just a new website, or was he also a new business?
he was a new business with a new GMB account, but he was the only guy, you know, and we talked about this the other day, and you kind of gave a side grin about difficulty of getting people to do check-in, right? And we have a fabulous program called BrandREVU that is something that we proprietarily use and integrate into city and service. I'm sorry about my phone. I don't turn my phone off anymore, because if I turn it off, it'll be off and I won't remember for the rest of the day. Anyway, so he was using check-in, and check-in is something with BrandREVU that we put in all the city and service pages. And when he leaves Chattanooga, or if he's in Saudi Daisy or Red Bank, I'm trying to remember my suburbs of Chattanooga. I know Saudi Daisy and I think Red Bank, I'm almost positive. So he'll go do a tankless water heater, or Madison, a 50-gallon expansion tank, for example. And he'll put on there, just did a Renai tankless water heater in Saudi Daisy TN, or not even Saudi Daisy. He'll just did replaced a Renai tankless water heater, and then he'll tag his Saudi Daisy page. He'll tag his tankless water heater page with the photo that he took of it, and then he will hit check-in after he puts client's cell phone and or email down. That's going to do multiple things. It's going to post his check-in, which is that is the geo coordinates off of your phone within 2 blocks. He's going to have that on a little red pin drop on the Saudi Daisy page, on the tankless water heater page, with the photo and the caption next to it, actually not under it, but next to it.
One of my favorite aspects of it is whenever they do fill out that customer email and or phone number, and they send them that link for the reviews, when the client clicks on the link, it doesn't give them a series of instructions of how to do it. It actually takes them to the form where they can start filling out the review then and there, while our company client is still there, so that they can just, the odds of them actually getting the review go way up as a result.
I don't know what the actual odd is. I need to look it up, but it's got to at least double. So let's say 1 out of 10 people, for easy math, give you one if you ask nice as you can at the door. So before you walk out the door, you say, hey, please leave. This is great, man. You've been a great guy. I got my hot water working. Go, hey, if you really want to thank me, leave me a review. Just look me up. Give me a Google review. Google search my name, or here, go to this website on my card. And then 1 out of 10, maybe, right? And then you get in your truck, van, or whatever, you open your BrandREVU app up on your phone or your tablet, and you drag your photo over and tag it, and then just did a 50-gallon water heater replacement in Red Bank TN. And then you tag your Red Bank page, you tag your water heater replacement page, and then you put in the clients and you hit the button, and then they get that text Madison was just talking about. But you also get the geo coordinates tagged on a little red pin drop, which is like digitally raising your hand and saying, Google, please recognize that I was here. And then it puts that little red pin drop on the city page, on the service page, with the photo, with the caption. And then you've got this website building that has far more relevant content, better content than anyone else around, which, Madison, is why he went up so quickly in ranking. And you can check that guy's site and see how many jobs he's done, because he checks in every single time. He's got a general check-in page, and then he's got the pages that go just for all that goes on a city page or a service page. Now, if it went on that gobbledygook page for check-in, wouldn't it be optimizable, right? Has to go on the city and service pages individually, which is so important that we build it when the site's built. Otherwise, people do a check-in, the check-ins don't work. They don't work nearly as well. And this guy shows up for Saudi Daisy, water heater repair, water heater replacement, and Red Bank TN, tankless water heater, and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, so it happened for him pretty quickly, and it was because he specialized. And really, that guy does about a job and a half a day currently, Madison. I was checking. Somebody had called him for referral, and and he does about a job and a half a day. So, other thoughts or comments, Madison? I'm running closer to the end of my list of things here.
Well, sure. Well, we've covered a lot of motivation as far as what specializing can do for you, and just the ability to rank for a
Right.
specialized cluster of topics is much easier when it comes to SEO. But there's a lot of, like Nolan said, there's a lot of groundwork that goes into making sure that you can sustain that specialized brand. Like, there's your domain name, picking your domain name for
Yeah,
it,
I forget about that.
which is easier to find a specialized domain name for that sort of thing instead of just Plumber in Chattanooga Plumber. How hard would that be to get? Or even better, if Dallas Fort Worth Plumber, how hard would it be to get that domain name or company
Well, I
name?
do want to talk about that for a second. So they absolutely don't need to pick that name. It might work in a smaller market, but there's some algorithmic things that would penalize somebody for doing what would essentially be a keyword stuff domain.
Mm-hmm.
And so probably would be a horrible name to be Dallas Fort Worth hot water heater repair. Now, if you had DFW water heater repair, maybe, but you really cannot go plug it. And then there's some other issues, in my opinion, and some other people's opinion that work here, that if Google can't tell who your brand is, that's bad. So they need to be able to specifically tell. In a smaller market like Chattanooga, you can get away with that kind of stuff. But if you didn't have a word that wasn't used with the other words on another market, it might not work because Google can't distinguish the chatter of general keywords and who your brand is. So again, Dallas Water Heater Repair Company is a bad name, but Dallas Water Heater Repair Guys is a good name. Mm-hmm. And I'm not suggesting these to people. I'm just saying, because the word guys or brothers or Dallas Water Heater Brothers or water heater, the brothers or guys is not typically used with water heater, but the word company is, the word service is, even the word specialist is, right? So those are all bad words to use with it from a standpoint of a Google branded aspect. Absolutely something you'd want to think about beforehand. If anybody's watching this or listening to this on podcast form, I do not want you to come to me with already having picked the name and have it registered with a logo. That is a bad move, I like this idea a lot, but yeah, you do not want to go pick it, because if you pick a general thing, you could just see this could go from a great idea to something that you just completely trashed and messed up. Right?
That's a good point. And once you start with that domain name, if you've really sunk your investment into it for like 6 months or so, and then you come to us, that's 6 months of having to restart again. That's a sunk cost. Yeah. And restarting, you can't get your effort back.
I had it happen a few weeks ago, and I made it out. I'm very straightforward with people, so ethically, I tell this guy, this name's bad that you picked. He's in a very large market and picked one of these names like this. I'd already done a logo contest for like $1,500. We would have done him a logo with up to 3 revisions for free, and he had all his stuff set up. And I didn't sign him up, Madison, but I also don't want to sign up a guy that I know is going to probably do poorly and have this deal where it lasts 6 months and both parties lose money. So anyway, hopefully he'll call me back. But yeah, you can make some major mistakes on this stuff and kind of screw it up too. Yeah, I think Madison, anything else? That was a very good point, by the way. Any other things besides name and domain name?
Well, I think you've already mentioned a lot about the content as well. And when it comes to developing that authority, making sure that you have the right selection of services that you want to dedicate yourself to for the long term, not just ones that you're like, well, I might do this occasionally. Yeah. You want to pick the ones that you're like, these are the ones that when people call me and ask for them, I'm going to say yes every time, unless it's outside my service area or something like that. Right. You want that specific group of services ready to go and then you can start making the awesome content that we talked about, and the custom website to support that.
Right.
And then from there, you can have a really great, successful SEO experience.
Yeah, this makes it easier to have an SEO experience, especially with a new .com launch, a new business, new Google My Business account, all of that. And I literally do know that it can happen within just months. It can just start going strong. Somebody's got to have proper setup, proper website, properly get picked up, proper content. There's a lot of high-end skilled detail work that we do. And then they've got to be compliant on working and getting these check-ins and reviews. Without that, even with all the high-end work, it just won't work as good as it could. That guy in Chattanooga is the most dominant for absolutely everything there is. And it's a great market to have done it in. Now, if you do this in a larger market, you've already got competition, and it's important that stuff get done as high a quality as it can so that it can sustain and last. And if you don't use these techniques properly, have high quality design and code base, implemented in a check-in system with photos and captions so that there's hundreds of changes going onto the website, they're going to sit there and just stare at it for a long time, even though it is a specialty, because it's too scary for Google to want to show, not enough history, not enough to show people, and not enough support to back up that it's good enough to show high-end rankings, you know. That's all I got on it. You know, I guess if anybody has questions on this stuff, I'm obviously happy to answer them. I really love doing stuff like this sort of thing because we will get people that are starting out and they just, and they take off. And we have I talked to Madison, I talked to the other owner, John, the other day about this stuff. And we have a pretty decent retention rate for brand new business startups, you know. Especially if I can get to somebody at this stage for a plumber, you know, because we were talking about it just because, hey, or, you know, and we're like, yeah, we're keeping a decent amount of those, like a pretty high percentage of people that start out brand new, like that guy out of Chattanooga. I can't imagine him ever not wanting to stay with us because he's busy all the time now. He went from working for someone else and not really having any work to having a daily volume on it. So I like this stuff, and not everybody will do this. In case you guys don't know and you are new, and you can get your clock cleaned over and over and over again by poor quality services that cost a fortune and you never go anywhere. I don't know anybody that would sit there and drill down something to this point for you on your behalf, write it all up. You look like $1 million. You look like you've been in business forever with a logo, proper code base, proper content, integration of check-in, and all these other things set up so that you do have the opportunity to go up in ranking quickly and have a stable business that'll actually pay the bills. You know? So anyway.
Yeah. And Nolan, there's one last thing.
Sure.
I think you mentioned it yesterday when we were talking about it in another one of our talks. And I think we should restate it here. Don't be afraid to really focus really well in one particular area. Like this plumber, this water heater specialist, he could have said to himself, well, why just Chattanooga? Shouldn't I go for all these areas around here, like that are, you know, 30 miles this way, 30 miles that way? And like, if we, you know, didn't know how to answer him correctly, we should have said, yeah, optimize for everywhere. But if you optimize really well for your hometown, it's not like you still can't do jobs over there. People can still ask for you, and you can still elect to do that. But you can start laying the groundwork to optimize and rank really well in your city. And if you do that, then you can healthily start gradually expanding to other cities around you from there. If you try to do everything at once from the get-go, that's a very, like, it makes for some difficulties that you don't want.
Yeah, he did want to. He did want to, Madison, and I told him, you know, not to do that. So it's not like he does Chattanooga and surrounding areas, but he was talking about something 30 miles away. And most plumbers, HVAC, they don't, you know, they're not going to drive an hour to do a job because they got to charge for that. And if they have a plumber working for them, they got to charge for the mileage and time. But it is a common deal for people to want to take on too much and then get nothing, you know. and screw up the optimization, and Google gets confused, and they really don't let you guys have like 100-mile area scope of city pages. It just doesn't start out that way. Because he did focus and was really specific, and not only was he specific in the category of plumbing and this town, but he was also niche specific on what he did, and all that stuff done properly is why he went up in ranking so quickly. And yeah, what Madison's talking about is that you guys can go from something really well constructed that's going to work well to just spamming Google and not showing up anywhere, just kind of like that, you know. So it's a slippery slope once you start trying to do it. But he's dominating, you know, so that's all he wants. If he wants to go off to a town 30, 40 miles away and do another one for this, then he can do that later. And he may, Madison, because he was talking about it, you know, however long ago that was, 8 months ago when I talked to him. All right, I think I'm done, man. I'm spent. I'm done. I don't have any more, no more wisdom bombs to drop.
Nice. Well, thank you, plumbers, again for listening in to us. And we've talked a lot. We've covered this topic quite a bit. But if you ever have any questions about this stuff, we are more than happy to pick up the phone. If you're a brand new business and you're wanting to get somebody behind you who knows their stuff, we're happy to answer these questions for you and get your brand started on that local SEO.
Nobody better than us, man. All right, Madison, let's see you next time around. Maybe we'll be back in the office one of these days. But
hopefully very soon.
Hopefully
see you guys.
Bye, guys.